Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to all of y'all. April 26th. This is going to be my last show in April, and we're moving on to May. And then after May, it's June. And y'all know what June is? June is the start of Big Brother 23. At least I think it is. I don't know if they've made an official announcement, but pretty sure it's going to be in June. So, happy almost summer, almost Big Brother to all of y'all guys. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see who all's out here. Dawn is out here. Ma's out here. Parker's out here. Chris, Chicky D, Brian, David, Crosstrack, Tim, Anthony. Man, all of y'all out here. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate Meg as well. Angie, howdy, Angie as well. I almost forgot to say it, right? SKD143. I love my wife. I love my kids. And I love all of y'all out here. All the fellow Big Brother fans, reality TV fans, and Monday night YouTube live fans. Thanks all of y'all. I appreciate it. Let me give you a heads up before I forget about it, because y'all know the way I get when I start talking, right? But let me give you a little bit of a heads up that I'm going to shut down this evening. Not right at 8, actually a few minutes before 8 o'clock Eastern. So let me say I'm going to shut down in about 55 minutes or something like that, because Big Brother Canada has a special episode on tonight that starts right after this show. This show started at 7. Big Brother Canada starts at 8. Some of y'all who are watching it, and me as well, I'm now caught up. We'll talk about that. But because of that, I don't want to have anyone having to make a decision between Big Brother Canada and my show, because I'd lose. But so we're going to shut it down right at or just a few minutes before. So just so y'all know, hope y'all are doing fantastic this evening. Angie saying, oh, yes, can't wait to see who was let back into the house. Jetson versus Tara Moss. I'm caught up. So now I can talk about it a little bit. I feel like I'm back in the world. We'll talk about it in a second, because I got a few things. I'll just start talking about that, and then the whole hour be gone, and that'll be the end of it. Yeah, so now I can talk Big Brother Canada with all you experts out there. Don saying, do you have a nickname for us? Well, Don, I kind of leave that up to you. Inside the house, I did hear the term Cliffomaniacs mentioned once before. And it's funny because we get zero information. Y'all have heard this. We get zero information inside that house as far as what's going on in the outside world. But there was one time when I was inside in the diary room, and something was said about, hey, Cliff, you talk every morning. Why do you do that? So, well, just for my family and for all the people out there who like Big Brother and wanted to know what's going on. And, I hope people like it. And the voice from the microphone said, oh, there's a lot of Cliffomaniacs out there, Cliff. And I started laughing. I said, Cliffomaniacs? And I was told that, yeah, Cliff, that is a thing. We can tell you that. So there you go. So Don, that's as good a term as any, I think. I don't know. Maybe just the gigantic Cliff's Angels. How about that? Yeah. They used it in the house, so maybe we could use it in here. I've said many times, I loved having an alliance with Jessica and Kat and Nicole, but I hated the name because I thought people were going to hear Cliff's Angels and just immediately think, oh, Cliff's the ringleader on this whole thing. We got to get him out. Forget those 3 ladies. So I hated the name. I hate any name of an alliance. I think as soon as you name an alliance, it becomes more solid. People point things out to you and everything. I didn't want to name it all, but other people did. So there you go. So I don't know, Cliffomaniacs, Cliff's Angels, all of them works. But let me say as well, I may have mentioned it before. Thanks to all of y'all. Thank everyone for birthday wishes, either wished out here or on social media over the last few days. My birthday was Saturday. I had a blast. We'll talk about that as well. I mean, it's so easy to start getting ahead because I'm so excited about talking about different things. I ain't an angel, but I am a maniac. Anthony, I hear you, my friend. Of course, when I hear maniac, all I think is the Flashdance with what was her name? I can't even think of her name now. Jennifer Beal? Is that it? She's a maniac. Ain't nothing wrong with being a maniac, right? All right, Cliff, a maniac. Chris, if it works for you, works for me. All right. Hey, Joshy P, Betsy as well. Welcome aboard. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to try to follow some of my notes and try to read some comments as well. Let's talk a little bit as people kind of still wander in about today's national. I always do this a little bit. And I know Don already knows one of them. Yes, indeed. Today is National Audubon Day. I never can say that word. Audubon Day. It's one of my little things. all about bats. Bats. It's all about birds. James Audubon, I think, was the guy who decided that, hey, Johnny Appleseed's already got the apples taken care of. Different people have different things. I think I'm going to be the bird guy. I'm going to just study birds. I think he did a lot of drawings of birds and things like that, right? So anyway, so happy Audubon Day to all of y'all. Somewhere out there, Nicole Anthony is probably hiding in her house, trying to avoid any mention of birds, and so she hated those birds. She was not a fan of birds. I've heard a story or two about turkeys and things like that. So, but for those of you who don't mind looking up every once in a while, happy National Audubon Day to you. I got a real quick story. It's got so many stories. A real quick story, not about birds, but close enough. When I hear birds and all, I immediately think of like Alfred Hitchcock and the birds, scary stuff. But one quick story. When I was over in Angola, Western Africa, actually is in a place called Cabinda, which was a big oil base over there. It was so cool because at night there were bats everywhere in this place where I was at. And you could go up and see them all in these trees. They were fruit bats. They weren't vampire bats, or else I wouldn't have been outside. I like my blood inside. But a bunch of fruit bats everywhere, which meant the whole place smelled like rotten fruit because these bats would all eat the fruit and then go to the bathroom everywhere. Kind of disgusting. But I thought, when else am I going to have a chance to see just fruit bats? They're actually absolutely covering all these trees. So I went outside with my camera thinking, well, when these bats take off at night, I'm going to make sure to take some pictures of them all swarming everywhere they go. So I'm standing out there. Everyone else is indoors, but I'm standing out underneath all these bat trees waiting for them. And sure enough, all of a sudden it gets just dark enough. One or two start flying, and then they all start flying. Next thing you know, it's this huge storm cloud above me. So I grab my camera. I'm pointing straight up. Click, 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 click. Take as many pictures as I can. What I hadn't counted on is the fact that when bats take off, I didn't know this. When bats take off, I guess they go to the bathroom once. Kind of like you get up in the morning, you take care of business. Well, that's what the bats did. And next thing I know, I'm taking pictures, and I got bat guano landing all over me. It's like dive bombers. And maybe they just saw me and thought, hey, this sucker, let's get him. So there you go. I've never really been attacked by birds, but I've been attacked by bats. So that was kind of my little story on that. My experience with birds has been with the bird calls. Who asked that? How much practice? Yeah, Brian, how much did you study those bird calls? Man, Brian, I forgot about that until you mentioned it. That was the strangest thing because they woke us up at night. We didn't get that much time. The HOH was on a Thursday night. So Wednesday night, they woke us up with just obnoxious voices talking about, welcome, guys. This is the bird tour. Here's all the voices. And all night long, they'd wake us up with one or two, and we'd try to remember them. And, I was working with Nicole a little bit. I was working with Tommy. We actually, even though we were competing, we were all trying to work with each other. But I remember some of them, the weebly, 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 or the caged captive, the captive barn owl versus the free barn owl. Woo, 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 woo. I worked on that all night long. I kind of thought I had most of them down until the next morning. Tommy and I were up a little bit early, and they played all of them one more time for us to remember, and they had them all rotated around in different orders. And so Tommy and I looked at each other, thought, what is going on? I know that was the captive barn owl, and yet now they're saying it's the free range barn owl. That something's going on here. So at that point in time, we just absolutely were dumbfounded, couldn't figure out what maybe was going on with it. So, but yeah, we practiced those bird calls so much. And then we all got called to the diary room, and they made us go through all of them and do all the calls, which I'm sure y'all saw us looking like idiots sitting there doing all that. It was, that was a fun night. I went into that competition thinking, I got a decent chance of getting these all right and maybe winning this HOH. And then they yanked the curtain aside and said, it's prank week. Yeah, we aren't doing that. Y'all rolling a ball instead. And I rolled it horribly. I got national pie, or the pie prankster deal instead. Had to throw pies in my face and everyone else's. And but yeah, it was a long evening of trying to memorize all of those different birds. So very interesting. Angie, your sister Winnie's on a new episode of Supergirl tomorrow. Playing Business League. All right. I don't watch that show. I ought to. I just, not enough hours a day. But Angie, I'm gonna have to watch it now. When I see Mrs. Lee, I'm gonna say, I kind of know her. 2 degree separation of Kevin Bacon with Angie Hung or something. I really think, Angie, we could do 7 degrees of separation with you instead of Kevin Bacon. And I think we'd probably have connections with just about as many people because you know everyone. I continue to be amazed every time. So, well, congratulations to your sister. Tell her to please break a leg just for me. All right, let's see what else. Let's see. Yeah, I'm excited for Big Brother Canada. I'll talk about it, and yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. All right, let's see. Tommy is the funniest of the bird calls. He really got into it. You know who else really got into it was Nick, because he knew he was in danger. His game was in danger. And while we were all in lockdown in the HOH, he was practicing so hard just to himself over and over and over again. So he fell asleep during the late night things, and he missed a few of them. And he came in begging us, saying, "Please, can you tell me what that one was?" And we helped him. We aren't gonna. I didn't have a job. I was fine with Nick sticking around as long as possible. I thought we had at least a little bit of a connection, so I was helping him out. But as it turns out, it didn't matter at all. But yeah, Tommy tends to be the funniest, most funny on a bunch of things, huh? Chiggy D, I remember the bird calls during the season. I thought the punishment with the bird was going to be meant for Nicole. Nicole did not like the bird. They would fly overhead every once in a while. I remember sitting there looking at those birds overhead thinking, God, those birds sitting on top, they can see everything that's going on outside. I'd love to just be that bird for 15 minutes. So probably not the rest of my life, but 15 minutes, just go up there, fly around a little bit, see what was going on. Would be kind of cool. Grandson's Chris, your grandson's birthday was also Saturday. Well, he must be an amazing person. The big 14. Well, congratulations to him. 14. The teen years, it's gonna be fun. He's gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun as well. I kind of remember being 14, 15. Also, congratulations to your son. That's fantastic. And tell him happy birthday from me. Let's see. Amanda saying we watched a show about the Candyman, the serial killer from Houston. Yeah, I know about the Candyman. I remember that. I was around. I was a kid back then. So you hear stories about some guy with poison candy on Halloween or something, that hit home. I remember having to get all of our candy checked. I remember not eating pixie sticks forever because we're worried there's that was horrible. There are some evil people in this world. We'll just leave it at that. So yeah, that's probably a kind of a creepy one. Of course, I told you all about the serpent, so maybe this sits a little closer to home though. So I'll have to check it out though. Hayden saying, didn't you have an earthquake? Yeah, Nick is having a baby. We're going to talk about that as well. Hayden saying, didn't you have an earthquake scare that summer? Yeah, hence the background. And let me just move on. Start talking. So we have National Audubon Day. We also have National Richter Scale Day. Did y'all know that? Yeah, I don't know what his first name was. James Earl Richter? I don't know. Racker Ricker? I don't know. But a guy whose last name is Ricker. Maybe his first name is Ricker. But anyway, guy named Ricker invented the scale to measure how severe earthquakes are. So it made me think that this may be the background. And this is actually a screenshot from the live feeds when the earthquake hit. I think this was July 5th. We had a little one on July 4th. And then the one that hit July 5th, they said was like 10 times stronger. And we could feel it. What, 6.1 or something? They said it's the strongest one to hit LA in a couple of decades. And so y'all can see, where's over here? There's me pointing up at the chandelier, bouncing back and forth. And Holly and Jessica, obviously a little bit concerned as well. Sam over here, a little bit worried. It got our attention. We immediately got under some beams and things like that just to try to avoid. Because, a normal house, you think, well, unless it's really bad, the house should be okay. But remember, we were in a soundstage, a studio. They made it look like a house on the inside, but up above, it was still just a roof. And you never know. I mean, you never know how did they use enough nails and bolts and things to hold all this together? Or is that whole house just going to kind of come down on us? And we couldn't go out in the backyard because the shutters were down. So we were locked inside. So we got underneath some beams right at the exit into the backyard to stay safe. And as it turns out, it wasn't a big deal. No injuries, but it got our attention. So yeah, congratulations. Enjoy. I don't know how you celebrate National Richter Day. Go jump on the bed and act like it's an earthquake. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun. You can do that on any day. It doesn't have to be earthquake day. But yeah, it's funny. After the earthquake hit in that house, I actually came up with an idea. I said, well, there's always aftershocks. So we're probably going to have more. Heck, we may have even a stronger one. So I went and got a kitchen knife or a spoon or something. And I had some fishing line that was up in the have-not room. got a long piece of fishing line, tied a knife onto the fishing line, then tied the other half of the knife up onto the top of the circular stairs. So this knife's hanging a long way down, with the idea that if there's any kind of earthquake or anything, we'd be able to see that knife moving back and forth. Even if we couldn't feel it, we'd still feel a knife moving back and forth. So, scientist Cliff in there. And so we would watch every once in a while, we'd see that knife move just a little bit. So we knew there was a little aftershock there. And so that was my contribution, Mr. Science inside the Big Brother house. I explained to Tommy and Christian what I was doing. And I don't know if they thought I was just the nerdiest person they've ever met, or they were impressed, or maybe a combination of both of them at the same. I don't know, but I thought it was fun. Gave me some information, even though because I went into the diary room, said, "Hey, is everyone okay? And is LA falling apart around us?" I said, "Cliff, we can't tell you anything, but if it was too severe, you'd know." Yeah, okay, so I just had to leave it at that. All right, I see a lot of talk about Big Brother Canada, so let's just go ahead and get into that, and then we'll talk about some other things. Hayden saying he felt it in Vegas. Yeah, I remember reading about after I got the house that it had been felt all the way across multiple states. There were some fires, things like that. It just didn't hit in the most populated areas, which was good. So anyway, yeah, Big Brother Canada. I had my birthday Saturday, in case you haven't heard. I had my birthday Saturday. I did two things. Well, I did a lot of things, but the two main things I did, went with my wife and my daughter and her fiance. My son's over in Austin, wasn't able to make it, he and his fiance, but went with my daughter and her fiance and Sharon. And we went to eat at a restaurant called Mediterranean Bites, which doesn't matter. If you're here in Houston, I guess it matters. But it's a buffet restaurant that's Indian food and Mediterranean food. So we get the best of both worlds. At hummus and chicken tandoori, and oh my God, it was amazing. I naan, and oh my gosh, I just ate and ate and ate. Enjoyed every bit of it. I really hadn't had Indian food since COVID and quarantining and all of that. And it's probably the first restaurant I ate at that was a buffet restaurant. Yeah, it's still trying to be a little careful, but oh my gosh, I ate so much. I came home and I said, well, I don't know if I can do anything else except just sit here on the couch and maybe watch a little TV. We had some birthday cake and things like that, which was a lot of fun. I got to show off one of my birthday presents I got. I got this from my mom. All right, how is this, guys? Can y'all see that? It is a little mini chainsaw, battery powered. Battery down here, little chainsaw. In fact, I can even run it for you. Is that not cool? Cuts the branches in the front yard, and it'll be a perfect Halloween prop for next October as well. I've been cutting branches, trying to prune. We lost a lot of stuff because we had such a horrible freeze here, and so I do a little cutting here and there. And so I got my little mini chainsaw that I can plug in and power it. So that was one of the gifts I got for my birthday. That I'm really excited. I want to just go out and cut down little trees everywhere just to try it out. I'm going to do that pretty quick. So that was my birthday. But the other thing, after eating, coming back, doing some birthday cake, strawberry birthday cake. We also got caught up in Big Brother Canada. Sharon and I just sat there and we binged however many 16 episodes or so that we still needed to watch. Maybe not quite that many, but we were behind a little bit. So I got caught all the way up. So I know all about the invisible HOH. I know all about the fake eviction. I know that tonight, here in about 30, 45 minutes, we're going to see which of two people came back into the house. And I don't know which one I want to come back in. All I know is someone's going to come back into that house very, very upset and not trusting of anyone else in that entire house. Oh my gosh. That was everything I watch on these Big Brother shows. I try to put myself in their position and say, what if that had happened in my season when I was in there? What if right at the very end, when we thought Christy was sent out the door and we're planning ahead and everything, all of a sudden we find out that, well, no, maybe Christy and Jessica, or maybe Christy and Tommy, neither one is going home. One's going home. The other one's coming back in, and they're going to be mad. They're going to know who the alliances are and everything. It could have been very interesting. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I have really enjoyed Big Brother Canada this year. There's players. Kiefer, for those of you who watch, for those of you who don't, I'm sorry, and we won't talk forever. Kiefer, the way he talked Jed and them into keeping him in the house and not sending him home, brilliant. The guy deserves potentially winning just for that alone. I'm so proud. I like Kiefer. He's one of my I really like almost everyone in the house. There's no one that I dislike. I think some play the game a little stronger than others do, but I've enjoyed all of them. So yeah, it's been a fantastic season. And now I was being so careful not reading social media posts and things until I got caught up. So as soon as I did, then I tried to get caught up, and all I could read about is people griping because the feeds have been down for the last 4 days, which is rough. That's a long time for the feeds to be down, but we're gonna find out about it tonight. So yeah, it was fun. Moss saying I want Tara to come back. If Jed comes back, everyone is screwed. We'll see what kind of, it looked like we saw the start of or what they were going to do for the battle back, and it looked like maybe it was rolling some balls or something. So I don't know if Jed has an advantage over Tara. Seems like a pretty well balanced competition, and we'll see. I again, I don't really care that much. If Jed comes back in, I think he could run the table. I don't know. Everyone may be going after him as well. It may be everyone against Jed. I think he could grab Beth. I think the two of them, even though he's going to be mad at her to some degree, I still think he would latch on to her, and maybe it'd be the two of them against the other one. So I don't know. We'll see, but I'm excited. That's why I'm shutting it down a little bit early tonight. And Angie saying I want Tara to come back just to have a different dynamic in the house. Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't know. Jed, I don't know. Jed's such an athletic. He's strong. I mean, he created a threat because he's done so well. But I don't know, either one of them. It was such a rough episode on Thursday watching these people get. I felt so sorry for Jed because he truly did trust these people. I know what it's like to trust someone, and then you just have the world fall down around you. And Jed, at one point he's saying, well, this is either going to be the most amazing move in Big Brother history or one of the dumbest moves in Big Brother history. And when he gave the veto to Beth instead of keeping himself. Well, now we kind of know which one that was. And I got to say, I got a lot of sympathy for Jed. I truly do. And for that reason alone, there's maybe a part of me that'd like to see Jed come back in, just because he's going to regret it for the rest of his life. If he doesn't come back in, he's going to say, why did I get played the way I got played? And he played, as Don says, he pulled a Marcellus from Big Brother US. Marcellus. It's going to be tough to ever go beyond what he did, of thinking, send me home just because there's a special power to get back in. Don't ever make that assumption. I never made that assumption. Now, I was on the block a few times. They were doing battle back. I thought, well, I may be able to battle my way back in, but I never thought it's a good thing to get put up on the block. Holly and Jackson tried to tell me that at one point when I got sent out. They said, Cliff, we knew that it was a battle back. We knew you had a better chance than Nicole. It was all part of a big strategy. Don't think that because we voted you out, it's because we wanted you gone. It was all part of the big plan. We knew you would make it back in. Yeah, you lying guys. I didn't believe that for a second. No strategy that involves sending me out the door is a good strategy. Ever, no matter what else you're thinking. So, yeah, Marcellus is definitely the king of moves that are questionable. We'll just leave it at that. So Moss and loves how they incorporate their families into the show. I know they do it so much up in Canada, and they didn't do it down here at all. I got my HOH letter, but I want HOH. I didn't get a video from my family. I didn't get to hear voices over the loudspeakers from them or anything else. I didn't get videos from home. I didn't get any of that. So it's kind of. And the other thing I didn't get any Wendy's. I didn't get any Whataburger either. It would have been nice. They could have given me Joe Blow's horrible sandwiches from down the street cafeteria or something, and I still would have liked it just because it would have been something different from inside the house day after day after day, the same food. Give me anything. I'd go to the gas station and pick up some Twinkies or something, and that would have been cool as well. Just get me something a little different from the house. But now we didn't get Wendy's. We didn't get family videos. We didn't get any of that during our season. Whatever. So yeah, Chicky D, I would have been. I could have gone for some Wendy's. Don't forget the burgers because I like the burgers. But I was gonna say, you give me just a big old Frosty, I'm gonna be a pretty happy guy. I could live on Frosties for quite a while. All right, Parker saying, did you hear about Amber winning the challenge? The challenge is over, guys. I enjoyed the season. Double agents. For those of you who didn't watch it, that were going to get around to it, I'm sorry, we kind of spoiled it right there. But so the deed is done. I apologize, but. Oh, great season. People underestimated Amber, and I'm one of them, especially after her having some issues with math and all that. But she came back. She busted tail running and doing eating challenges. She did fantastic. She and CT won the big prize, $900,000, $450,000 each. So they did fantastic. And it's gonna be. I'm excited to see him come back in now that she's won. She's kind of got her resume. So I would think Amber would probably come back. That'd be kind of cool. I hope so. Leroy didn't win, and he is now says he's retired. He's from Houston. I keep thinking how cool it would be if I'm just driving around somewhere and I run into Leroy and say, hey, I know you guy. That's kind of cool. You never know. I'm gonna have to reach out to him one of these days. But he says he's not doing the challenge anymore, which I hate to see. But he and Cam are an item, so I'm sure they'll have plenty of fun together and all that. So yeah, it was it was a great season. I was excited about. Somewhere down the road now, I need to watch Challenge All Stars, but I haven't even thought about that yet. Just not enough time, not enough hours in the day. So yeah, and Angie talking about shocked about KC, feeling bad for. I felt bad for her. KC. As I thought about it, and I mentioned this on the recap. For those of you who don't know, and I just dropped my very last episode recap for the season, but I was recapping every episode of the challenge. And I knew, because Casey last winter had a little thing where she got surgery on her leg or on her knee. She's very mysterious about it. Really wouldn't say what caused it. Said, we'll talk about it later. So I figured it had to be something challenge related. But yeah, she slipped while she was doing the final run and hurt her knee. And she probably had torn meniscus or ligament. Who knows? I'm not a doctor, but she had surgery on it. So it wasn't anything great. But she didn't give up. She was hobbling around on that. She wrapped it. She was still eating food and doing everything. Now, Fessy, on the other hand, Fessy is not the best at eating challenges, and he just would not eat those disgusting food. Yeah, they had sheep hearts and fish eyes and all kinds of a liter of blood. That's the worst part, a liter of blood. But he just would not do it. He already had kind of checked out, and I feel bad for him. I want to see both of them back, but yeah, Casey, I thought, because Casey last season was in the finals and she didn't make it. This is 2 seasons in a row that she was in the finals and still didn't make it to the thing. So, but I was glad to see Amber, Big Brother former player, that she was in 16 when she was Beast Mode Cowboy. He had a big crush on her, and I was glad to see her win. Yeah, and Fessy and KC were both in the finals as well. So Big Brother Alliance did pretty well, right? Yeah, Big Brother players know how to play these kind of games and stick together and develop some relationships and everything. So yeah, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun watching this season. So I say cross track. I wouldn't be able to do those eating challenges. It would make me hurl. I think they pretty much said, whatever, as long as I swallow it, I can throw it right back up and no one cares. So I guess you just have to accept that that's what's going to happen and just live with it. It was disgusting. Disgusting. I couldn't handle. I'd be throwing up just like everyone else. Give me super spicy foods or something like Big Brother Canada. Did y'all see they made them eat all the different levels of peppers all the way from, I don't know, bell pepper up to cayenne or habaneros. I think a habanero maybe were. I could do that. Give me the spiciest stuff and I'd chow down on it. Probably ask for seconds because I like spicy food. So I could handle that. But the disgusting food, a little bit different there. Moss, I have a gag reflex, literally physically not do one of those challenges. Yeah, you got to train yourself. I think you just have to pretend like it's a Bloody Marys. I don't know what would help. There's nothing that would help. Blood is blood. There's no getting around that, right? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so we had that. All right, let's talk about some other things. I mentioned that I had my birthday Saturday. It was a lot of fun. And again, thank y'all for the well wishes. Also, the challenge is over. What else is going on? All right, I mentioned I was caught up in Big Brother Canada. The other show I just started watching. I've watched one and a little episode more. The Circle, season 2. Are y'all watching it? I liked the first episode. And I actually talked to Shuby and a few people afterwards, and we reached out and talked to each other, which is kind of cool. But watching The Circle 2, I've had so much fun watching it. It's a little tough keeping up with some of the people because there's a guy that's playing a woman and a woman playing a man and different names and everything. So until you really get to know the characters and everything, it takes a little while to get up to speed. I don't know if I do well in The Circle or not. I feel like I'm very animated. My face, my hands, I'm laughing and doing a whole lot of other stuff. My body language and everything, I think, helps me communicate with people. If I'm just having to talk through a computer screen to other people, I just don't know how much of my spirit gets conveyed. And I don't know. I can't think that I could ever go on a show like The Circle and pretend like I was a 21-year-old sorority girl, or, do some of the stuff that some of these people are doing. I'd be found out so quick. I'd have to go in just saying I am who I am, and hope that was okay. But so I'm watching The Circle again. I'm only a little bit into it. There's like 8 or 9 episodes already out there. So that's my next binge watching little bit of excitement. So we got that. Don saying almost the whole Big Brother Canada 9 cast is following back on Twitter. That's pretty cool, Don. That's pretty neat. I've reached out to a few of them and said, hey, welcome to the Big Brother family. But then I kind of stopped because I was behind. So we'll see. But I know Julie and Josh, the first 2, had both reached out to me and said, hey, thanks, Cliff. Nice meeting you, all that. So that's kind of cool. All right. Don has to go. All right, Don. Hey, pleasure. Have a fantastic rest of the weekend. And cheers, my friend. We'll see you next week. All right, let's see. So we've got that. What is going on? All right. Someone mentioned this before, and I forgot who it was now. Did y'all see the news from Nick Macaron? Nick is going to be a father. Nick's going to be a parent. Man, that caught me off guard, just like everyone else. I talked to Nick by text just a day or 2 before, and he didn't say a word about it. That guy, he's tight-lipped when he needs to be. Not so much in the Big Brother house, but outside the house he can be. So he's got to be, I think October is when he and his girlfriend are going to have a baby. And congrats. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for him. He and I are going to talk sometime later this week. I want to get the scoop. I'm going to figure out everything. So yeah, I'm going to ask him, say, hey, you're going to name this baby Cliff, right? Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, believe that. If it's girl, maybe you could name it Christy. I don't think that's going to happen either, but you never know, right? So yeah, congrats to Nick. That's going to be really kind of, that's going to be fun. I'm going to be talking to him all summer about it. All right, so we've got that. All right, let me go back a little bit. What do y'all got going? I got a couple things. This day in history. I forgot to tell y'all about this. Did y'all know on this day in history, and there's reasons I mentioned it. In this day in history, 1986, Chernobyl. Do y'all know what Chernobyl is? The Chernobyl nuclear disaster in Russia at the time. It's Ukraine, but part of the Soviet Union back then. Chernobyl had their meltdown, their nuclear, that radiation spewed everywhere. They're picking up in Norway and all over Eastern Europe and everything. Scary, scary, scary stuff. If you want to see just how scary it is, for those of you who have, I think it's HBO, go out on HBO and watch Chernobyl, the miniseries I think it's about 8 episodes. We're lucky it didn't get a whole lot worse and didn't just radiate half of Eastern Europe, because that was a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, I don't know that we celebrate Chernobyl, but we remember Chernobyl and how scary it could have been. Scary stuff. Yeah, I'm a big fan of nuclear power, because we got to have some reliable renewables and things like that. And I think nuclear's got to be part of the equation. But kind of scary thinking some of the people who were in charge of that nuclear power plant were the ones who were in charge. So watch that show if y'all get us a chance. Yeah, Hayden, it's a must watch. It's kind of a dark. Not dark. It's kind of depressing. You watch everything, and I just saw a news article about the dogs that are still in the Chernobyl area. They evacuated everyone. There's whole cities that look like, breakfast still left on the table, things like that, because they just said, yeah, get out of here, guys. But apparently there's still some dogs and stuff left around. They sent people in to actually, they show this on the show, to actually go in and to take out the wildlife and everything, because they didn't want them spreading the radiation and things like that. But apparently there's some smart dogs that managed to survive. I don't know, maybe it's because they have 8 legs and they can run so fast nowadays with all the radiation. Who knows? Mutant dogs. It's like something from the Hunger Games at the very end, where they have those old crazy dogs chasing everyone. I don't know, but I'd be kind of curious. It'd be an interesting experiment to see after, 35 years or so, how wildlife may have mutated. We may have some mutant X-League type folks over there that we don't even know about. So anyway, Chernobyl Day. The other thing that happened, and who just mentioned that? Crosstrack mentioned it. Polio vaccine trials began today. We're hearing all this about the vaccines, and some people are now saying they don't necessarily want to have the vaccine. A lot of people have been vaccinated, and in some countries, it's India's falling apart. They've only had 1 or 2% of their people vaccinated, and apparently it's just horrible over there. I feel like here in the U.S. and Canada, and that maybe we're doing a little bit better because we've gotten enough vaccines, but some of these countries, it's not over. It's bad, but then I think back, man, the polio vaccine in 54 is in 1954. I don't just remember that. I've got that on the notes, but you think back then, what a horrible disease that was. It just paralyzed people. People in our lungs. Delano Roosevelt, FDR, was in a wheelchair, but I think it was because of polio. So it was just such a debilitating disease, and to suddenly come out with a vaccine that would treat it, that's incredible. I am so proud of the technology that we have sometimes. So, yeah, the polio vaccine was created, and also in this day in 2009. The United States declared a swine flu public health emergency. Now, you lightweights, you had no idea back in 2009, guys, how bad things really could get. I was a lot back then. I was 44 or whatever. So now I think back to that and think, God, that was nothing compared to what we just went through, and yet we survived it. So it just shows that we can survive just about everything. So yeah, a few days in history. None of them. Well, I guess polio vaccine is pretty exciting. That absolutely should be celebrated. The rest of them, maybe not so much, but it just shows we weather all kinds of tragedies and things like that throughout the years, and we somehow still survive. All right. So on a lighter note, I can't give you all this dark stuff. This is Monday. It's Monday. You got the whole week ahead of you. So I want to make this as cheerful as possible. So with all of that, I just got through saying, let's do remember that today is another national day. Today is National Pretzel Day. Yeah, pretzels for everyone. Yeah, I gotta say, I can't eat pretzels the way I used to. Had a little bit of a bad experience when I was in high school, going on a long trip. The only thing we had to eat was pretzels, and I ate pretzels, and then we got into a part of the trip that involved a lot of winding roads, and suddenly I wished I hadn't eaten quite as many pretzels as I had. And from that point on, there's something about the smell of pretzels that sometimes I really have to either be in the mood for them or I'm just not a huge fan of. Now, give me the ones like you buy at the baseball stadiums that are those big old fluffy, big ones with the salt on them and all that. I'm cool with that. I'm just talking about the little ones that you get in the packages that are like little sticks and everything. Those I got to be in the right mood for, but it kind of makes me want to go get one of those big old pretzels now because I like those. That was great. Lauren asking, do you ever watch Deadliest Catch? No, and I probably ought to. I love fishing. I don't fish for 400-pound tunas offshore and things. I go fishing for catfish and bass and freshwater lakes, things like that. But no, I like to, and I've never heard anything except good things about that show. But it's just I haven't gotten around to watching it. Maybe there's a lot of episodes on that I could binge forever, right? But no, so Lauren, no, I don't watch it, but I probably ought to one of these days. All right. Let's see what else. Let's see. Mayor of Easton. I haven't seen that one either yet, Angie. So many shows I need to watch out for. All right, Anthony. I see you have to go. Cheers, my friend. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Crosstrack saying I think he tested the vaccine on himself and his kids first because no one would try it. Was it Jonas Salk? I think it's Jonas Salk, the polio vaccine. That's confidence when you try, not just on you, because we saw what happened to Bruce Banner. I mean, people will inject all kinds of crazy things into their system when they're experimenting on themselves, right? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, same kind of thing. But to inject your kids, now that's showing some confidence and some faith in your calculations and everything. So hey, props to Jonas Salk for putting his money where his mouth was, putting his kids where his research was. I'm not sure what you say, but yeah, it worked. I mean, wow, that's pretty good. All right, let's see what else. Yeah, Jonas Salk, I thought it was. I remember a few things here and there. All right, so what else is going on? There was something. Oh, I know what I was going to mention, y'all. I mentioned at the beginning, I think on my tagline promoting the show, I talked about bats and birds and bees. Well, I've talked about 2 out of the 3, but I haven't talked about the final one. I've got a battle going on, my friends, and I don't know who the victor is going to be just yet, but it's Old Boss Hog versus the bees that have populated the front corner of his porch. Yes, indeed. I got a bee problem in my house. Now, it's not just a regular porch. It's like up on the second floor, a little roof that's like 20 feet up in the air, a little corner of a patio. There's a bunch of bees flying around, and I've decided I don't want people to get stung. They're coming over to visit everything. I love bees. I grow loofahs and grapes and everything in the backyard, and they pollinate all of it. So I'm a huge advocate for bees. Don't kill them. Don't kill them because they're good. But when they start stinging people, when they're in your entrance to your house, then I'll give you a little bit of latitude. And that's where I'm at. I've tried everything to get rid of these bees. I've had water hoses on big old PVC pipes stuck up there, spraying back and forth, trying to get them to leave, putting different scents of stuff, smoke and everything, trying to get there. I finally got to the point of putting little bee traps, hanging them up on strings, thinking if I can catch them, maybe I'll take them somewhere and let them go. Probably I'll just let them drown. Don't tell the I don't know who's in charge of the bee police, but anyway, I got to get rid of these things because they're only getting worse and worse, and I don't want them stinging people when they come. Amazon may never deliver to me again if they see those bees, so I got to be a little careful. But there was a price to be paid. I got a couple of stings over the weekend while I was out there trying to figure out ways to chase these. I just want them to leave. We could reach a negotiation, but the bees won't listen to me. And so a couple of them got a little upset. They came in and they stung me in my leg. I've gotten stung this isn't the first time I've gotten bee stings. I'm not allergic to them, but it hurt. Maybe these are African killer bees because they hurt. It got my attention. But I'm still on that battle. We're gonna say, yeah, Angie, the birds and the bees. It did cross my mind when I put that little tagline out there that I may have some people a little bit confused or misled. Now, I'm not talking about the birds and the bees on here. If I do that, then I gotta go in and set this up for PG-13 and all. Or make it like a Cinemax type show or something. I'm not doing that. So yeah, not that kind of birds and bees. A little bit different, but. Yeah, so I don't want to kill these bees, but they got to leave. I'm about to the point where I'm going to have to just go ahead and call a beekeeper out and pay whatever they charge to either, I don't know what they do, suck them out with a vacuum cleaner and take them elsewhere, I guess. That's probably the smart thing to do, but I didn't want to pay money. I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I really wanted to figure out a way to get rid of the bees myself, and maybe they're smarter than I am because I haven't figured it out just yet. But it did make me think because it didn't help any. My next door neighbor said, make sure they're really honeybees and not killer bees. You don't want to be messing with those. And I thought, well, I hope they're not killer bees. And then she turns around and says, yeah, well, the neighborhood had some killer bees in the house, a couple of houses down. It's like, oh, great. now the level goes up just a little bit further. I'm dealing with the pros now. If it's killer bees and not just honeybees, so I got to be a little more careful. I wanted to go out there. I was going to create my own bee suit. I thought I could put on a bunch of layers of coats and tape gloves up and take a baseball cap or a cowboy hat and put a net down in front of it and then crawl up on a ladder and get those things out of there. And Sharon said, there ain't a chance in heck that you're gonna make a homemade bee suit and go up and hang around 20 feet above and that one of those bees isn't going to find a way to get in somewhere and sting you somewhere you don't want to be stung. I don't want to be stung anywhere. But I especially don't want to be stung while I'm 20 foot high in the air on a ladder. So that idea was vetoed. So we're going to have to do something different. But talking about killer bees, it's not my first experience with killer bees. I don't know if I've ever told y'all this story. I may have way in the past, but I'll tell it again. When I was down in Venezuela, in a city called Puerto La Cruz, which is, I don't know, not too far from Caracas, the capital or anything, but it's up against the ocean. Anyway, I was staying there and the hotel was more like a resort. So it's a whole bunch of little buildings that have 5 or 6 rooms each. And so they told me where my room was. It wasn't very crowded because this was back when Chavez was having, there weren't a lot of people working in Venezuela at the time. It was a little dangerous. And so there weren't many people staying at this place. But they told me where my room was, showed me on the map, and I start walking that direction. And it's way away from the main area. So as I get closer, all of a sudden I notice some bees flying around me. And I just kind of tried to keep my head down and just thought, well, I just need to get another 100 feet down and get inside my hotel room and hopefully they'll leave me alone. No. As I got closer, more and more bees until finally they just start swarming me everywhere. And it's like 1 or 2 said attack. They blew the bugle and next thing I know, they're just flying around me everywhere. So I drop my luggage. I take off running the other direction. I'm doing this with my hands the whole time, trying to keep them off my face, keep my hands over my neck because they keep stinging me on my neck. And I ran, I don't know, it seems like I ran about a quarter mile or so. I probably ran about 100 yards, which is still a long way to run when you got bees chasing you. And I finally got to another little hotel unit and saw a door that was open, ran in to that door, closed it behind me as quick as I could. A few bees got in, but not as many bees. And they're up against the window, hitting it and landing on the window, just waiting for me. I was like, God, these guys, they're rough. Well, it turns out they were killer bees. Africanized bees, I guess is the proper word. And so they'll go long distances to chase someone. They swarm after people. And that's what these things did. And I look down my hands and I've got bee bites all over my hands. They're all over the back of my neck. We kind of had like 18 stings or something. I don't know for certain. I don't remember. There's a bunch of stings, and so that's a little rough. And I thought, oh my God, this is horrible. Eventually the bees leave, but I still walk down the hallway, leave out another exit, and I'm like a spy. I'm like a secret agent as I'm stealthily walking, trying to get around these bees and get back to the main lobby. So I get to the main lobby and I try to tell the guy at the front desk that there's bees there, but I don't know the word for honeybees or for bees or killer bees or get them the hell away from me or anything. I don't know those words in Spanish. The only thing I could think of was mosca, which is a fly. And so I kept saying, oh, como un mosca, like a fly. And this guy's looking at me like, you crazy American. What are you talking about? But finally, I get the point across. I think I drew a picture of a bee with a stinger, and I showed him what probably got it across was showing him my hand everywhere. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then he brings over another guy who says, oh, they're doing some exterminating over where that room is. So, well, why'd you send me to that room? Oh, we thought they were done. We didn't think the bees were still there. Well, they were. And he then proceeds to tell me, says, oh, sir, if the bees are chasing you, don't do this with your hands. It just stirs them up. They'll sting you more. Keep your hands low and everything. It's like, yeah, logically, I understand that. But good luck on me not trying to bash these things away from my face when they're landing on my cheeks, my nose. You don't do that. You can tell me however many times you want, but I'm still swatting them off my face and whatever. So needless to say, I got a different room on a whole different part of the property. I made someone else go over there and get my luggage. They told me it wasn't that bad. And I said, well, okay, well, then you go get that luggage and bring it back to me. We'll give the luggage to you, sir. They wouldn't do it. They got a guy in a bee suit to go get it for me. So, yeah, that was my experience with killer bees. Hopefully it's the only experience I have. And I sure hope that's not what's in my front patio because I've got them really upset. I don't know if bees can remember faces or not. But if so, I'm not their fan favorite because these bees know that I'm screwing with them. And so if I walk outside, they're probably, most wanted or something in their little beehive posters because they're all, seems like they get more agitated as soon as I walk outside. I don't even have to do anything. When I turn on the water hose, I've learned how to run really fast. Maybe y'all didn't see it on the Big Brother season. I think I've got an extra gear. When the bees are stinging you, chasing you, I can move like a gazelle. I don't look like it, but hey, when stingers are involved, pretty fast. Maybe they should have had some bees as part of the Big Brother experience. Hey, bees, it seems like you could have tied it in somehow. And I may have had an extra gear that I didn't even know about when I was in there. So anyway, so there you go. That's the story on that. Ma said my dad got stung by a bee back in 2016. Up to that point, he thought he was allergic. There's nothing he screwed around with those allergies. There's Angie. There's nothing that those bee allergies can really do a number on. When you start having problems breathing, that's not something you screw around with. Tommy was, allergic to peanut butter. Whole different story, but allergies you got to pay attention to. Angie said Halloween and bees were boobies. I don't think I was going to promote that I was going to be talking about boobies on my show. That may have, I don't know. I don't know how YouTube would have responded to that. They may have had YouTube representative out here saying, the old guy says he's going to talk about boobies. You may make sure he's staying polite on it as well. So yeah, if you're allergic to bees, stay away from them. If you're a logical, reasonable person, stay away from them. If you're like me, go for it. Yeah, come on. What's a few hundred stings? Well, if they're African bees, there's something to it. But so hopefully I'll see y'all next Monday, and maybe I'll have an update. Maybe the battle continues. I don't know. I was kind of hoping this cold weather. Yeah, it got down to 18 degrees here. These bees, I thought bees would fly down to Mexico or something once it got to 18 degrees. How could a bee survive? I've researched it. I now know they bundle up like form a little blanket, and they just beat their wings until the temperature goes up enough so they can survive. And the ones on the outside just die. And the queen says, I didn't care about y'all anyway. Bring in some more drone bees instead. But that's how they survive. But I really hope the cold weather would chase them away. Yeah, I don't have that kind of luck. So, yeah. I'll keep y'all updated because the battle's not over yet. It's not going to be over until I either show up looking. You're going to see me on Instagram. You're going to say, oh my God, is that the most horrible looking filter that anyone's ever used on Instagram? I say, no, it's no filter. I just got the wrong bees mad at me. We'll see that. I'm gonna be careful. I'm not gonna let that happen. Amanda, switching from iPad to a 70-inch TV. Now you are life size. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad, Amanda. Yeah, it's funny. I watch old seasons of Big Brother before high def TV, and it looks so archaic, just so ancient. The quality of the TV and everything else. And now we watch it big old HD TV. And yeah, I've watched some of my seasons on the TV, the big screen and all that. And it's like, yeah, I'm not used to watching myself blown up like that. So Amanda, congratulations on watching on a bigger size TV. If they zoom in on me and a few of the others too closely, well then, sorry about that. Sorry about that as well. Johnny, bye. I see you're taking off. Have a great week as well. Hayden says we're rooting for you. Well, thank you. I hope there's no one out here saying, forget him. I'm cheering for the bees. I hope the bees just win and take over the house. Please don't tell me there's anyone out here. Tell me I got y'all support as I'm taking out these bees. I don't want to hurt them. I just want them to leave. but I don't forget. There's a vengeance. There's a vendetta at this point in time. You stung me. Now your friends have to pay the price. Who's saying this? For the longest time, there was a dead bee in the backyard. Mom is saying that. Okay, well, better a dead bee than one's flying around, huh? See, what is it? I'm sitting here talking away. I'm missing some of these things. Besides your own season, what is your favorite season of Big Brother? Chris, I really like season 8 because it was the first one I watched. Evil Dick and Jen and some of that they're good. Every season I got good and bad things. You know, I can find some good stuff about every season, I think, but I like season 8 because it was so new. It was my first experience with it. Let's see. Ma's taking off as well. Oh, well, no, you're saying goodbye to Johnny. Okay. Let's see. What else as I scoot back up here? One of my grandparents' friends died because he opened a bee thing and died. Well, Ma, that sounds pretty horrible. I opened a bee thing. I hope you're not talking about a jar of honey. Hopefully it's a little more than that. But yeah, those beehives, don't think if you're just a box out in the middle of a field that it's just holding a buried treasure or something, or it's probably holding something a little different than that. We get bee hives around here, bee farmers and all. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of bees that have died recently, so we need to do what we can to protect them. Just keep them away from the main parts of everything. Be on the lookout for the man. Chicky D. Be on the lookout for the man in the cowboy hat. Well, that cowboy hat, it's like riding bulls or something. Yeah. After a while, you're so worried about holding on. The cowboy hat gets left behind. I kind of feel like that. The bolo. Yeah. Be on the lookout. I kind of feel that way if I'm going after the bees. I may wear this to protect my head, although it's not the scalp of my head as much as like the sensitive areas here and all that. But yeah, I guarantee you this: when when those bees started chasing me, my old headgear was left behind, and heck, I would have left everything behind. It was it was quite the experience. So, gosh, I'm looking at the time, 7:53. All right, we're gonna shut it down here just a second or two, guys. Because, as I said, because I don't want anyone to miss the Big Brother Canada, including me. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, guys, what else is going on? I think that's about it. It's just a great week. I know I told y'all last week I was dealing with funerals and things like that. Now we're on to a new week. It's the last week of April, and then it's May. I hope y'all enjoy this last week. I don't know what part of the United States, Canada, or elsewhere in the world. There may be someone else watching for elsewhere. I don't know right off the top of my head, but it got nice and warm down here. I mean, heck, I'm ready to go out and cut down some trees as a result of it. No, it's warm down here. It finally feels like spring getting into summer. Our spring's like 2 weeks long, and then it's going to be summertime. So as the air heats up outside, and I don't know, as COVID at least here gets a little bit better, I'm excited. I'm ready to go out. Maybe it's just going over and eating that fantastic Indian and Mediterranean food. It just gives me a whole little outlook on life, a little bump up, some good eats, and spending time with my family and all of that. So it's fantastic. All right, guys, it's 7:54, so we will go ahead and shut it down. Y'all have Heather Marie and Kaya watching from South Korea. Well, thank you. I gotta say, I think you win the award for the farthest away. I don't think anyone could get any further. I mean, I guess you could get into the Southern Hemisphere maybe, but thank you. And I guess good morning to you as well. I've never been to South Korea. I'd like to. So I watch a lot of South Korean shows, Last Train to Busan and some of those. So it'd be fun. But well, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. I did not realize that. And again, you win the award. All right, guys, time to shut it down. Oh, and I'm glad South Korea, not North Korea as well. I will just throw that in. Time to shut down. Y'all have a fantastic week. I will be back next Monday. I'm not doing a challenge recap this Wednesday because, one more thing before I go. Big Brother Australia just kicked off Monday night their time, which was like 5:30 in the morning our time. I haven't watched the episode yet. I tried to go out there and find it, and I haven't found it yet. But Big Brother Australia's taken off, so I'm going to watch that. So we may talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to assume that anyone is watching it other than me. But if you are, let me know. But we may talk about that a little bit next Monday as well. Guys, y'all have a fantastic week. Enjoy Big Brother Canada if you're watching this evening. If not, enjoy your friends, family. Grab you something good to eat and have a fantastic rest of the week. I will see y'all again soon. SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. And obviously, I love every one of y'all out here. And thank you so much for coming out and spending a little time with me. I love it. The only thing I don't love are the bees. I don't dislike them. I just want them to go. SKD 143, guys. Y'all have a great one. Cheers, my friends. Bye. See you later.